Well, we got hit with an unexpected thunderstorm here in Nashville. All the power is out here in the fish room. Fortunately, I have this all powers unit here. You can see it. I featured it in the video. It's going to give me 2 hours of time. I'm running the Sump on the 210. I'm running one of the Marineland filters on the 90. The Shisei Shark Pro on one of the 55s. So, and it's going to give me 2 hours of backup. Hopefully by then, everything will be up and running again. Fingers crossed. Let's hope this passes quickly, and I can get back to business. I was in the middle of doing some maintenance on the tanks. Of course, that stopped. Good morning, friends. Ben Ochart here. Thank you so much for tuning in. I want to get into a typical morning in the fish room and what occurs, what my routine is. And this is, as you know, a lot of you are familiar with this, is the fish room. Let's go down there and take a look at what it is that I'll do each morning when I get up. First, I have to work my way around these guys. That's where they sleep, on that landing right here at the top of the fish room. This is why sometimes during a live stream, if somebody comes to the door, you'll hear some barking, because that's where they hang out. I have a tank here that I'm working on. A tank that is the current home of an eye biter. I'll show him to you. He's being treated with some pretty strong antibiotics. Hoping to bring him around. We'll see. He's never really looked completely right. He's never really had that brilliant blue that an eye biter has. He's always eaten well, but he always looks a little bit emaciated. When I was over in Arizona at the cichlid shack, we came up with a concoction of medications that he's being treated with. So he's getting a lot of fresh water, medication, and hopefully he'll start to come around. He is eating well, but he just never really looks entirely, fat and healthy the way you'd like him to look. Right when I come in, I'm immediately greeted by these guys. They see me, they think it's time to eat, which it is. And I just love as you know, I love the way the African cichlids interact. And they're not really that afraid of you. I mean, they certainly could be startled like any fish, but for the most part, they always come to the glass to greet me, as does this little guy here. Not really that little. This is a OB, commonly called a Skittles OB by the cichlid shack. He can't play nice, and so he's living alone in a divided tank that he's sharing with another bully. This tank has that brand new Shisei filter that I did a video on. It's doing a great job. It's quiet, it's efficient, doesn't fill the tank with micro bubbles, and I can adjust those any way I want. But it's doing a good job. There's a cobalt heater in here. And then his sharing the duplex is this guy here. I'm either going to have to dedicate a tank for each of them or end up rehoming them. These tanks are both heated and on controllers. These are true temp controllers that make sure the heaters don't go crazy. One of the things I do when I first come into the room is I check the filtration. And the way you check a Marineland filter is you just simply open it up. And if water is cascading out of these middle channels, then you know that it's time to do a maintenance. So this one is getting close. It's got a slow kind of a trickle coming on. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and pull out the filter media and rinse it. When I do that, I don't also do vacuuming and water changes. So on today's schedule will be to rinse the media in this filter, and because I'm doing that, I'm not going to do a water change or a vacuuming in this tank. I'll do one thing at a time. So I'll go ahead and service that media, give the tank a shot of Fritz Complete, and replace the media. Then I'm just going to rinse with tap water. My tap here is putting out a very low amount of, if any, almost no chlorine and chloramine. It's pretty interesting. Here's a tank that I'm still debating what to do with it. I'm probably going to throw a couple fire mouths in it, grow out either 1 or 3 fire mouths as a tank mate for this little green tear who's back here. And this is a tank, of course, that recently went through some disease, and it has recovered. I'm removing the meds with some carbon that's at the bottom of this Expertmatic filter. You can see the sensor in there from the that's the sensor from the controller. There's one on this side also back here. They determine what the temperature is and cut the power off to the heaters if it gets too hot. So be sure to use controllers, because the biggest complaint people have with their heaters is that they malfunction and end up cooking their fish. The filters in this tank look okay. The Expertmatic filters will tell you when they need service, because their bubble production really slows down because they get blocked, and they also will look very dirty on the outside. This one is very close. This one's getting close, especially the top chambers are starting to look a little bit dirty, but I think this one can go maybe another week. So on this tank, maybe I'll do a little cleanup on the plants, and maybe do maybe a small water change. You remember I picked up those phosphate pads, and I did a video on it, and I added it to some of the filters. Some of the pieces I cut off to make it fit the filters work really, really well to clean up things like plants and glass. So I've been using these phosphate pads to clean up the leaves, on the artificial plants, and some of the spots that can appear on the glass. It just does a really good job. There's a little bit of brown here, maybe a little bit in here. Not sure if you can see it right in there. So this little pad works really, really well for that. So again, these are things, as I go through the room, I'm kind of picking up what my assignments are going to be today. Whatever I end up carrying out, I'll actually record on this board here. This is just a record of what I'm doing and some ideas on upcoming videos that I just keep on the board for easy reference. For example, here are the 255 gallons, and by looking at this, I can tell that the Shisei was installed on the 24th. It's been running since the 24th of May. I did a water change June 10th. At the end of May, I serviced the Marineland, added the divider. So really just general information about each tank. Every one of the tanks has some notes here that tell me about what I've done, and so I can just go right back up to it and determine when was the last time I did a water change. If I have any questions, the last time I serviced a filter. This is where I do most of my work, back here on the sink. I had this sink installed. I can't even imagine what it would be like not to have a sink down here. Here's some socks that I just washed in the washer. I took the advice of GP. He's one of the moderators on my Saturday live streams, and I started washing my socks with a little bit of bleach. They're washed, and then they're rinsed in a complete wash cycle without any bleach. So they're perfectly safe, and I've been using that, and they actually look brand new when I'm done with them. So you can see all the different things I have here: digital thermometers, scissors. I have a needle nose pliers that helps with the inside the insert center section of the Expertmatics. Different size different size nets, scrapers, hoses, right siphon systems, glass cleaning systems, and some dog leashes. Those boxes up there, one of them is a aeration system that you can put into a canister filter, sort of a brand new experimental product that someone sent to me to check out. And the two boxes below it are two algae scrubbers that were sent to me by Santa Monica Filtration, and that's going to be going into the sump under the 300 gallon. It's a little bit of a tight squeeze in here, and eventually I hope to build some racks to put these kinds of tanks on them. But between the 90, here's the 90 gallon, and again, these fish are very interactive, even when they're being harassed. Look at that Salvini, oh my God. The two chocolates are very interactive. They actually jump out of the water and will bite my finger. I just hope when they get older they don't get teeth. But we go back here. It's a little bit of a tight squeeze, but I can fit. And is the 29 gallon. And really it's the same kind of inspection. I try and notice okay, how are the plants doing? How do the fish look? Everybody's looking good. Some lemons in there, red serpe, a little ember back there. Got some green laser cats. And I take a look at at both the amount of bubble flow and the condition of the filter. It looks pretty good. So this tank could get a very light vacuuming, maybe a little water change just to freshen it up a little bit, and maybe clean up the glass. You can see some of the mulm and buildup that is occurring on the glass. So that's what I'll be doing with this one. And you can see the pagoda snails are really, I'm getting a lot of these pagoda snails. I really like the pagoda snails. There's Big Mama back there. See, she's got a little bit of blue on the back. That's the pagoda snail back there that is creating all of these babies. And I realize that some snails can actually do that alone. Some snails need a mate. Other snails don't. But I'm getting a lot of pagoda snails in here. I don't mind. I really like these pagoda snails. They're really kind of cool. So if I was going to have a breakout of snails, I wouldn't mind that it'd be pagoda snails. So that's what I'll be doing with this tank. The betta tank looks pretty good. Not sure if I'll be doing anything with this tank. Maybe scraping a little bit of algae off of that Anubias. Hey, Mr. Mustard. You're in a video, buddy. Yeah, this one looks pretty good. I don't see a lot of too much junk here on the bottom. This betta actually likes to play around down here, but instead of going into the cave, he goes under the cave. He actually goes sideways and will squeeze himself in this section right here. That's his hideout. Interesting, huh? He's also building a bubble nest in the back corner of the tank. You think I should throw a female in here? So that's what I'll be doing with that tank. And working my way around here, we go into the little 8-gallon Horizon. This is a Hydra Horizon 8-gallon. And maybe I'll do a little glass cleaning on it. Doesn't really require much. It doesn't really create a lot of waste. The plants are doing a lot of the work for me. Maybe scrape some algae off the plants. Gave it a water change last week. I don't need a water change every week in this tank. So yeah, scrape the plants a little bit. Maybe clean up the plants, and maybe remove any of the kind of green algae that tends to build up. You can see it right there. There's some green algae right there behind the bubbles, kind of like a hair algae. I'll get rid of that. Never had really an outbreak of that kind of algae. Pretty interesting, actually. The 90 looks pretty good. I think it looks pretty clean. Look at the substrate. There's a few little spots here that I can scrape off. Rocks look pretty good. Maybe do a little clean off on the plants. And then if we look at the filters, the marine land filters, see here, this one's got a little bit of a starting trickle. Not really up to the point, I think, where it needs to be cleaned. And this one here, there's two of them running on this tank. This one is pretty dry in the middle channel, so this one was recently serviced. Doesn't really need any work. So with the 90, what I'll end up doing is just maybe cleaning up the glass a little bit, some of the brown near the bottom, and the plants, just using that phosphate sponge on them, just cleaning them off a little bit, and possibly servicing one of the marine lands. And then I'll flip the top, because the top over time will bow a little bit, you'll notice. I was having to feed this tank through the two holes at the back there to the left and right of that air pump, which I didn't like, because I love watching the fish eat. It tells me a lot about how they're doing. But what I did is I went ahead and drilled a hole. I drilled a hole right here. So now I have a feeding hole, so I can feed them right at the front and actually watch how they act as they're being fed, who's getting to the food, who might not be getting to the food. And I think that's an important part about really understanding what's going on in the tank and really making sure that there isn't any one fish that's not eating. Here's my 300 gallon project that, as many of you know, I'm putting it on hold until I get back from my trip. I'll be back on July 4th, and then I'll commence with that. A little bit of my live stream setup here, but the sump is in place, and that's a step. And there is some plumbing that's been cut and is ready to go. So it's just a matter of setting it up, filling it, water testing it, and then I can start transferring fish. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be moving these fish, the African cichlids, will probably be moved over to the 300 gallon. One of the things I do when I come over is I examine the socks. This is the sump, and one of the things you look for are the socks overflowing. And as you can see, the sock in the back, in the secondary, is overflowing. So that's on my list of things to do this morning, is I'll go ahead and replace that sock. And I'll probably also freshen up the tank with a water change. Maybe swap out 30-40% of the water and make sure these fish continue to be in nice fresh water conditions. Let's go ahead and feed these guys. They're very, very ravenous eaters. And as some of you know, I make a blend of food. This has got some Piscine energetics. It's got some cobalt probiotic. It's got a lot of Sarah food in there, and extreme has some extreme, peewee and big fella. So it's just a blend of food. That's the way I like to feed them. So let's go ahead and give them a little bit of food. Very good eaters. Give a little food here to this guy. I have a hole on the top of this. This is one of those condensation tops. He's a very good eater. This guy tends to be really shy. The food has to practically fall in his mouth before he'll grab it, but he will. He'll come after it. If he doesn't eat it now, he'll eat it off the bottom. Already fed the green tear. Let's go ahead and put a little food in this food hole here. See how it works. You can see the chocolates, very aggressive eaters. Anything that doesn't make it in, I can just sweep it in. Eventually that hole will probably get a little bit dirty. I'll probably have to clean it with a brush. These guys are very, very good eaters. The chocolates are very aggressive eaters. A couple cherry barbs in here. I just drop a few little bits of food in there and they go after it pretty good. They're pretty good eaters. These are bug bites. They're a betta food, specifically for bettas, designed for bettas. And I mix a little bit of this. This is a Sarah betta formula. I mix a little bit of that into it. And I drop a very, very small pinch into the tank. Really just what a fish can eat in just a minute or so. He'll see it and go after it. He's also a very, very good eater. I've got some of this food here, New Life Spectrum, and it's designed for very, very small fish. Not sure where I got it from. I think I might have got it at I might have picked it up like at an Aquashella as a sample or something. Not sure how I ended up with it, but but these guys love it. Again, I got a little piece cut out over here where I can feed them. So I feed them on that corner. I also have a little bit of shrimp, an aquarium shrimp product that, again, I think I picked it up at a convention, some kind of a convention, and I just drop a few of these in because the cory cats like it. You can see the cories immediately notice that I've dropped the little shrimp pellets in there. They go right after them. These are called green laser cories. Very interesting. They go up and they gulp air, just like your betta fish do. They go up to the top and gulp air. Something I didn't know. Well, that's the fish room update, but all of my best laid plans are on hold because an unexpected thunderstorm has left us with a complete power outage. So stay tuned, and we'll see if we get through this. Fortunately, I have that all powers unit, and it's going to hold the fish room for about 2 hours. It'll keep things going for 2 hours. I plugged the Sump into it, and the Shisei, that Shark Pro 500, and also one of the Marineland filters on the 90-gallon. So that'll run for about 2 hours off of that all powers unit. The fish room is in total darkness right now. I'm using sunlight to record. You couldn't even see 2 feet in front of you with the strength of the storm. You can see it blew over some of the trash cans, and it just came in here completely unexpected. And it looks like it's moved along, so hopefully we'll get power back. So there you have it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to hit that sub button if you haven't already, and the thumbs up, and check to see if you're still set up for notifications. Sometimes YouTube will arbitrarily, for no reason, turn off notifications. I don't know why, but I've been hearing that from some of the subscribers. And if you'd like to support the channel and just to go a little extra mile, consider becoming a Patreon. And the details on how to become a Patreon are underneath the video in the description. All right, thank you, my friends, and I hope to see you on Saturday for the Cichlids and Coffee live stream. That's every Saturday at 11 a.m. Central. Hopefully the storm is gone and the skies are still a little gray, but man, oh man, that was a hard one. Okay, some of the thunderclaps actually scared the heck out of me, and I usually like thunder. All right, thank you, my friends. Bye-bye.